Hey everybody, this is Mark from We Talk Art. I'm recording this in the Illinois-based Prairie Moon Farm where they sell over 70 varieties of pumpkins. I didn't even know there was that many pumpkin varieties. It is mid-September of 2024 and that means next month is October, which also means next month is Inktober. What is Inktober? Stay tuned. I'll tell you what Inktober is, how to participate, and why you should. I'll end with 10 tips to help you get the best from your Inktober. Let's roll the intro and get into it. Inktober was started in 2009 by New York-based illustrator Jake Parker as a way to improve his drawing skills and build up better drawing habits. I will link to Inktober and Jake Parker in the show notes below. In a nutshell, Inktober is an art challenge. Once a year, on September 1st, Jake publishes a prompt list of 31 prompts, one for every day in the month of October. This prompt list is posted to Instagram, which I'll also link below. Your job is to draw a picture based on the daily prompt in ink and then post it to Instagram with the hashtag Inktober and Inktober 2024 or whatever year you're doing it. The idea is if you do this, you'll grow as an artist. The rules per the official Inktober website are not much more than that. 1. Make a drawing in ink. 2. Post it. 3. Tag it. 4. Repeat. That's it. There is no submission process. You don't have to join anything. No one has to jury you in, can deny you, or kick you out. It is just a personal challenge with some social media participation. It is to help you grow and make better art. And so the rules can be yours too. Even Jake Parker puts a lot of leeway in the rules. He even says that drawing in digital is okay. I say you can change the rules for you and make up your own. Just let your followers know what you're doing. The concept has grown to the point that many people and groups are putting out prompt lists for art challenges year-round and for mediums beyond just ink. I will put a great list in the show notes below. So if you're not watching this now, before Inktober, you're bound to find a list for the time that you are watching this and for any medium that excites you. There are even alternatives to Inktober in October. You can also find old prompt lists and just have fun. The advantage of doing the current one and doing the prompt that day is that you'll be posting with thousands of other people from around the world who are participating in the challenge and working on the same prompts. It is a lot of fun to see the ways people interpret the prompts. You might even be inspired to try something new. My first year I did Inktober challenge was 2021. At the time I was working at Nevada Fine Arts, a Reno-based art supply store. NFA also made a prompt list for October of that year and I mistakenly tried to do both. I started to fall behind and then I got really busy and I stopped with the intention of going back when time freed up. Well, that didn't happen. But I did get 18 days, 2 drawings a day, which is 36 drawings. So I did not get the 31 days, but I did draw more than 31 drawings, but I didn't complete what I set out to do. If you think that drawing every day for 31 days is too much, I get it. Again, modify the challenge to something you can do. Do every other day. Do 1 a week. Do the challenge, but do it over 2, 3, or even 4 months. Make it work for you. I did the challenge again in 2023 and only made it to day 15, doing just the Inktober list. Work overwhelmed me. I could have beaten myself up, which I did a bit, but it's supposed to be fun, and again, make it work for you. Despite quitting early twice, I really saw the value in doing it both times. I can say firsthand, doing the challenge greatly improved my ink drawing skills and I learned so much about ink and ink drawing tools. I even found the creative process of taking a word prompt and coming up with an idea was helpful. I think the act of thinking out a drawing, deciding what tools, and then executing the idea every day for some defined number of days has great value. Your craft will improve, your creativity will expand, and your knowledge of the medium will grow. You will see the results of this in your work. I can almost guarantee it. Many people will add additional challenges to the prompts, such as a theme, perhaps puppies or spooky or sexy, or do them all in a specific style, or try to make a story out of them with a character. If you search Instagram for previous years, such as Inktober 2023, you will see a lot of creative approaches to the challenge, although there is nothing wrong with doing it straight, especially if it's your first time. I made an effort to add some humor to my drawings. At the time in 2021, when I decided to take on my first challenge, I was excited about it because the art supplies we sold at Nevada Fine Arts, ink was not one of my strong subjects. As a result, I challenged myself to use a different ink type, tool, or technique for each drawing. Believe it or not, there's a lot of ink options. I might have repeated myself a couple times, but not much. The flip side is many people choose one set of ink or tools and make all their drawings with that. This will give your challenge a sense of belonging together and give you an opportunity to master a tool or ink or technique. This goes for color. If you are going to use color, you might consider at the beginning if you're going to use one palette for all your drawings or just use whatever colors works for the drawing you're doing. Sticking to one limited palette can be powerful when you're looking at the final challenge as a whole, but at the same time, it could add a level of complexity to the challenge. Me being me, I think I was overly ambitious to what was possible given my time and energy. So for you, if this is your first time, I would advise you consider starting simple. Some people will be very literal and work small and quick, while others will work elaborate plays on prompts and do amazing drawings. But this is not a competition, it is a personal challenge. So make sure you make it something that is doable, fun, helpful, and meaningful for you. But at the same time, challenge yourself at least a little. I am sure there's tons of ways that you could do this challenge, but it just boils down to getting the prompt for the day and drawing it out in ink. You can do a pencil-based drawing. It even says that in the instructions on the Inktober website. I at times will do test drawings using reference images to work out my concepts in a different sketchbook. Again, the rules can be whatever you want them to be. Challenge yourself so it will be a challenge without killing the fun. So, why ink? First, ink is very bold, contrasty, impressive. It requires craft to make tonality, form, and line. It is also not erasable. If you work in a journal rather than single sheets, you must be at peace with the mistakes you will make. And you will make mistakes. Ink requires courage, and courage will help you grow. Even though you can use pencil under drawing, you may want to challenge yourself further and just draw directly in ink. No pre-drawing, no underdrawing. Many people tell you the value of this. I'm not quite there, but maybe you are. Okay, let's talk materials. As I pointed out earlier, there are probably more possibilities than you might imagine, unless you regularly work in ink. I like doing these kind of challenges in a journal of some kind to keep all my work together. For paper, I would recommend something a bit on the heavier side and fairly smooth. In the past, I've used mixed media journals by Strathmore and Stillman and Brun. But hot press watercolor paper or Bristol drawing paper would work fine. Don't use sketch paper in a sketchbook. It just doesn't handle most inks well. Some companies like Canson make a pen and ink paper, but I'm not aware that they make it in a journal form. Although Crescent has their render paper in a journal, which is good for markers, although it is a bit pricey. I like the journal look, soft covered bound, opposed to a wire bound sketchbook style, just for looks, as you may want to show it off to friends or family or keep it for posterity, you know. Find something that you like because you'll be using it for a month. If you select a journal, make sure it has enough pages, 31 or even a couple more. I would recommend planning on doing only the facing pages because some inks can bleed through even good paper. Make sure you test. But you can back yourself up by putting an interleaving piece of paper or wax paper between the pages you're working on. Another fun option for paper is to choose tone paper, such as tone gray, blue, or tan. You can then use white, metallic, or light opaque inks to make a very dramatic look. As you can see from the examples, I like tone paper, although the classic white has a great look and might be easier. I'm going to use it this year. There are tons of tools to use. Pens, brushes, sticks, brush pens, dip pens, fountain pens, bamboo, quill. Use your imagination. For one of my drawings, I was trying to figure out how to make a great ink spot. And after some trial and error, I realized a cotton ball dipped in any ink and dropped onto paper from a height made a great splat. Don't be limited to the classic fine liners. For the tools, you might think of these. Now, I'm traveling right now, so I don't have all the samples to show you, but I'll show you what I have. So you can start with ballpoint pens such as Bics. Some artists love the variety of line that you can get from these pens. Technical pens like a micron or point liner. These have become the standard for pen and ink for many people. They make a very consistent line and can be waterproof, and some even are alcohol proof, so you can use them with markers. Fude nib pens by Tombow and Faber-Castell. These flexible nib pens make a huge variety of line widths and can make a very expressive line. Fountain pens by Platinum, Noodle, and Lamy. These pens have a flexible nib and make a large variety of lines too. Dip pens from Speedball, Browse, or Manuscript. These classic pen and ink tools have lots of nibs, allowing lots of creative options. Brush pens by Pentel, Copic. They take practice, but they're well worth it. Acrylic ink pens by Posca, FW, Golden. You can also use Sumi brushes, watercolor brushes, brush pens filled with ink. Lots of options. Even make some up. Exploring ink can be as fun as exploring the tools. Indie ink by Higgins, ProArt, and Speedball each have different characteristics. Color India inks and drawing inks by Higgins and Winsor & Newton can make vivid colors. Some of them are opaque, some of them are waterproof. Color inks in pens by Faber-Castell and Pentel. Fountain pen inks by Noodler, Diamine, Lamy, Colorverse. Sumi inks by Yasutoma. Acrylic inks by Golden, FW. Alcohol markers by Copic, Yoho, how do you say that? OHUHU, Yuhu. These alcohol markers can bleed through almost all papers that aren't designed for them. Crescent render would be the exception. They may also disrupt other line work on the page, unless you're using specifically alcohol-resistant pens. So it might be best to use water-based markers, such as the one made by Tombow or Faber-Castell. There's also white inks that you can do over the top of inks, such as Posca, Uniball, Jelly Roll, FW, acrylic inks. So while I am talking about inks, it should be noted that you can only put fountain pen ink in a fountain pen. Any ink and some drawing inks have different kinds of binders, such as shellac or acrylic, and will mess up your fountain pen permanently. You only want to use these inks with dip pens, brushes, or pens made for those kind of inks that are easily cleanable. Also, you should be aware that there are some waterproof fountain pen inks by Platinum, Noodler, and Super 5 that will work with water-based markers. As far as technique or style, I'm going to leave that for you to explore. It may be dictated by the tools that you use. Pen and ink can have a really classic look like etching. You can also get a woodblock look from brush or brush pens, and you can also get a very illustrative look from pen and ink. Adding color, white or metallic inks to this can really set it off. Acrylic inks can be a whole new rabbit hole to fall down. Using a brush can give you drawings that look like paintings. Then you can mix them all up. Just have fun. The rules are only there to be broken. So here are the tips that I promised. Number 1, if you're a beginner, find reference images for your ideas. The challenge is not to make 31 drawings from imagination, unless you want to do that. It is to draw 31 drawings. Great artists use reference. I would recommend using reference. I do. They can be found almost anywhere. It becomes part of the design process. 2, size matters. Usually big pages demand big drawings, and big drawings demand more detail and take longer. Just be aware of that. I like a 5 by 8 inch size myself. 3, I do recommend, as I stated above, to do a base drawing in pencil. You can use graphite or you can use something like non-photo blue pencil. It is amazing how these marks go away when you put that bold ink on the page. But if you want, you can always go back and erase the lines at the end. 4, don't do what I did. Keep it simple, especially if you're a beginner or have a job or have a family or have a life. You'll thank me later. You'll also have a better chance of completing the challenge. 5, if you're committed to finishing the challenge, you should probably make a schedule and put a time limit on your drawing. This little bit of discipline will help you finish and still might have a life. 6, don't lose the fun. If you miss a day, you have options. Do it tomorrow, although you will get behind with the online community, which is fine. You can just skip the day, or probably the best option is to leave the page blank and come back and fill it in at the end. 7, get on Instagram and check out what others are posting after you've finished yours. It is a community, and giving encouragement, comments, and likes, etc. can be a fun part of the challenge. It will definitely inspire you as you move forward. Follow some of your favorite artists that are participating in Inktober, or follow the prompt, and you will always have Inktober drawings in your feed. 8, if you are making a journal and you are using different types of ink or medium, test them out together before you use them in your final journal. Some inks don't play well together. Alcohol inks can move or smear other inks. Some inks are water soluble and will move, smear by other inks or markers or pens. Although these interactions can also be fun, such as some inks spectralize when hit with water, creating other colors. Some inks will dry interesting ways when they're combined with other inks or colors. Some inks can be diluted in water for tone or shadow. 9, make it a challenge. I think a lot of people will have the tendency to stick with their strengths, doing things that they already do well. I would really recommend trying new things and pushing yourself a little, using this as an opportunity to grow. Even if you don't end up with that epic Inktober journal that you can show off to all your friends, you'll end up with something more valuable, a new skill. 10, my last tip is to be aware this is harder than it sounds. I have failed to complete this twice. Challenge yourself, but give yourself some grace. Keep it fun, keep it beneficial. Don't stress, worry, or ruin your day, week, or month over Inktober. There are many things in life more important than this challenge. It will not matter in the future if you skip a day or it takes you 3 months to complete. Just have fun. Okay, find your tools, ink, style, and have fun. Add the hashtag #WeTalkArt to your posts and we'll all see what you're doing. Have you done Inktober or any other art challenges before? What did you do to make it through a month of 31 art pieces? Or what took you out? Do you have any additional tips? Are there any good challenges you recommend? Did I convince you to try Inktober? Let us know in the comments below. Also, remember all the buttons to show your love are below, including that very helpful subscribe button. Now, go make art.